guys are doing well today. My name is Jennifer. Here we talk about everything. And today we are starting a 60-day journey that we are working on, which includes a book and a deck of cards. And I'm going to tell you what those are in just a minute. Now, before I do introduce that to you, I am going to be introducing a new sage called Blessings. It has white sage, mountain sage, and cedar sage. I got it from magic.com. The first one, well, it had a mind of its own, and it went right up. I was like, woo! It smells good. Anyway, so what we are doing, as I put this, I guess. What we are doing is starting a new journey. And well, that consists of doing things differently, thinking differently, handling things differently. Get your coffee. This actually has cinnamon in it. It has one of my little packets in it. So check that out. Y'all excuse me for just a minute. Listen, we're going to start with some gratitude. I wasn't expecting to go face to face with y'all. Let's start out with some gratitude first. Just one card for the gratitude. Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. And look here, it's the beginning of it. It's the beginning, the first one. Look, there's no backside. It's the first page. I told you, we're on a new beginning. We're on a new beginning. The Lord is my strength and my song. Psalms 118:14. Joy is a net of love by which you can catch souls. A joyful heart is the inevitable result of a heart burning with love. Mother Teresa. And one more. It is good to give thanks to the Lord, to sing praises to the Most High. Psalms 92:1. Gratitude is an offering precious in the sight of God, and it is one that the poorest of us can make and be not poor but richer for having made it. A.W. Taser. Alright, that is our gratitude for this evening's reading. Alright, for the next 60 days, we are going to be working straight out of this book right here. I want you guys to get a copy. You can get one off of Amazon. It can be delivered straight to your door. It is a $40 deck. I'm going to put that out there. So it's not cheap, but it's not expensive. But it's necessary. I don't know about you, but I'm ready. I'm ready to be not fucking dealing with the same old shit every day. Boys, come here. Coconut water. I practice what I preach. I did not exercise today, but I will exercise before I go to bed if I think about it. Just put that out there. Alright. I have been... Do I read this? Or do I not read this? Do I read this? Do I not read this? And I got told to share it. But not just share it. What I'm supposed to do is... We start out, like today's episode, we're going to start out with card 1, and there's 60 cards in this deck. We're going to read the preface and the introduction and the front of the book. Beforehand, I'm going to pull a purpose card and a spirit message card to go along with this. Okay. So I've actually been using the deck over here, so I will have to look for each card, but we're going to go in numerical order with those decks. The Law of Healing. Transform your trauma. Transform your life. It's that time, ladies and gentlemen, and there are no excuses. You see that rainbow right there? We're underneath that rainbow. So what do we have to look at no matter where we're looking? Fucking rainbow. Who do you see that? A rainbow. Listen, there's no numbers on here. So you just and it's not numerical. It's like you have to look in it. All healing is done through the revealing of truth. You have been endowed with an innate healer within. All disease is a misalignment with Mother Nature and universal law. Negativity, toxicity, and stress are all the indicators of the misuse of your divine power. The truth is that you are not your body. You have a body. There is only a perfect health because the body is a perfect reflection of the use of energy, individually, collectively, and cosmically. Trauma is the key to unlocking the wisdom within. Transmute the energy from your traumas that are embedded upon the DNA and unlock the divine physicians within. Awaken the oracle within. Healing is done through the revealing of truth. It is time to redirect your energy to love, connection, and expression. By drawing this card, your higher self desires for you to awaken out of the amnesiac state and remember who you are. You are endowed with an infinite intelligence and innate healing. Journal and action. Go within and do an affirmative mind treatment, aka divine prayer. Expand your mind until you have a perception shift in your health. Expect a miracle. Learn more about E for Trauma Method. www.newthoughtglobal.com. I like you too. What you need? Yeah. Alright, you ready to get down? Somebody need to come say hi. Listen. I love my baby. I love my baby. Yeah. I love my baby. I love my baby. I love my baby. Yeah. Oh, look. Don't allow anyone. Don't allow anyone to abuse your power or take it away from you. Remember, you will be treated how you allow others to treat you. Show them that you value yourself far too much to settle for anything less than you deserve. What you got to talk about, music? I like you too. Yes, I do. All right. So we are going to sage this place, this space we got. All right, boo boo. I need you to get down. Eos. The stick, not the ball. Are you ready? Excuse me. You ready for it? Here it goes. You better get back now. Sage does not stay lit in my house very long. I don't know how it works in anybody else's house, but it just doesn't stay lit in my house very long. I'm not gonna complain. It's meant for taking all the negative stuff out, right? And I'm not gonna get these anymore either because the shake. I don't want it to, like, I have to make sure I don't stir it over the cards. I don't stir it over much. Not complaining. I'm letting you know ahead of time when you get these so that you don't fuck your shit up. Alright. It's pretty. But I'm probably going to break it up. I'm going to put it loose and break it up and do a little bit in the bowl instead of having it in the stick. Alright. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to open the book. We're going to read. Now, I am going to lights out this part of it. And when we get to the card, I'll open back up. Okay? Sounds like a plan to Dad. Hi, Mommy. Girl, Liz. I know. Are you ready to take me a fancy restaurant? Well, if you insist. I really don't insist. Listen, I saw this thing the other day. It said something about, if she don't like fish, something about fancy restaurants and fast food. I'm right there in between. They don't serve enough food at the fancy restaurants, and the food ain't good enough for me at the fast food restaurants. So I just assume buy me something and fix it at the house. Just saying. Anyway. I've never understood it. I'll never understand it. I don't give a fuck how much money I ever make. I will never understand the concept of spending $300 for a piece of fucking bean. Dude, somebody bump your fucking heads? Like, why are you even thinking that it's okay to spend that much money on a fucking nothing? There are people starving, asking for fucking less than what's on that plate, and it would cost you $5. God damn. Listen, I'm okay with them fancy restaurants. I just assume filling up with stinky guys. At least they got something to talk about. You know? Anyway, I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, give me a good old-fashioned mom and pop place that fills my plate up with some barbecue and fucking fatback. We're good. Like, them fancy restaurants, I'd be afraid to eat some of this shit. They just eat just to make their ego feel good, because they ain't got nothing better to do with themselves. You can keep them weird fishy things too. I don't do that either. No. No, I'm good on that shit too. Listen, that caviar, oh God, be like, yeah, listen. Them sushi rolls, I'm good on them too. I'm good on them too. I tried them things. Listen, that green stuff, that's a mighty motherfucker. I eat some cucumber rolls. I'm not big on that other shit. Are you guys ready for this? Me too. Here we go. Listen. This is copyrighted 2024. This is a brand new deck, you guys. Brand new. So go fucking get this motherfucker. You can get it at redfeathernbs.com. And you can get it at Amazon. That's where I got it. It's 60 triumphs for a new dawn. Mind, body, and spirit. Now, Red Feather is a publishing company. It's not just, like, it's a publishing company. So, check that out. The Fool represents the soul of every man, which, after it is clothed in a body, appears on earth and goes to the life experiences depicted in the 21 cards of the major arcana, sometimes thought of as archetypes of the subconscious. Let each reader use his imagination and find here his own map of the soul's quest, for these are symbols that are deep within each one of us. Eden Gray, The Complete Guide to the Tarot. Forward by Andrea Aste. Ooh, huh. Testing these roots. Okay, listen, I'm gonna do the best I can with this. I'm not gonna lie, I only know English. Considerate la vostra semenza, fatti non foste avere come bruti, ma per seguire virtute e conoscenza. Consider your origin. You were not born to live like brutes, but to follow virtue and knowledge. Dante, Divina Commedia, Inferno Canto, 1618. It was a gloomy day, dark the sky, dark the earth. That kind of darkness that slowly penetrates into your soul and smothers it. In the realm of death, every day was the same. But that day, something unpredictable happened. Something fought against the ominous darkness. A light was made, and immediately it shone brighter and brighter. A little man lit it. His name was Primo Levi. He did not know it, but with his simple gesture, he would change everything for himself as well as for everyone else. That day, in the cold winter of 1944, in the unspeakable horror of Auschwitz, he did the unthinkable. He started to recite Dante's Commedia for himself and his inmates. Almost whispering it in secret for fear to be caught by the guards. Telling the story of Dante's imaginary journey from hell to heaven, he gave them hope. He saved them, and with them he saved himself. Day after day, they navigated the Divine Comedy. The light became inextinguishable. Years later, Levi would become a famous writer. His books translated into every language. He shared the light with everyone. Among all the canti of the Commedia he was reciting, he kept coming back to one in particular, Canto 16, which recounts Dante's meeting with Odysseus and his last voyage from Ithaca to the end of the world, a journey within a journey. Maybe this is one of the reasons why Levi, out of all the inspiring books ever written, chose Dante. The journey. Something marvelous happens when we go out or are forced out of our comfort zone and embark in a new adventure. We accept life in its totality, in its depth and mystery. We become fully alive. Journeys give us new challenges, new rewards, a purpose, and above all, the opportunity to grow, to be a better human being. As one of my favorite poets, Edgar Lee Master, wrote, "For love was offered me, and I shrank from its delusionment. Sorrow knocked at my door, but I was afraid. Ambitions called to me, but I dreaded the chances. Yet all the while I hungered for meaning in my life. And now I know that we must lift the sail and catch the winds of destiny wherever they drive the boat." George Gray, Spoon River Anthology. The journey is the most enthralling metaphor of life, one to which we have returned for millennia. From the beginning of humankind, we have defined ourselves as humans, as beings on a journey. And indeed, we are on a constant quest, always looking for something outside ourselves, be it an answer, knowledge, fulfillment, love, It is not surprising that our first myths in storytelling were narratives of incredible journeys. The Epic of Gilgamesh, the Mayan Popol, the Odyssey, the tale of Princess Kagaya, a true story by Lucian of Samosata. It does not even matter if the voyage is real or fantastic, because from the imaginary adventures of the Little Prince to the diaries of British explorer Freya Stark, there is an identical Phil Rouge. In order to grow and know ourselves, we have to confront the other, namely, everything that is not us. In other words, we have to accept the challenges that destiny offers us, discovering and testing the limits of our individuality. If Joseph Campbell's theory is correct, every story is a journey, or better, a hero's journey. There is no escape. Whatever interpretation we give, psychological, metaphorical, sociological, etc., to this omnipresent concept, we are defined by it. And tarot is not an exception. We can interpret the sequence of arcana as the fool's journey, and it is indeed an incredibly interesting and powerful way of analyzing the cards. But now something even more stimulating is happening. The fool is on a new journey. John Matthews' idea to reinvent tarot is, to put the matter in simple terms, sublime. Many artists and authors have been redesigning tarot, giving it new forms, shapes, meanings. What John has done here has the depth of a beautifully refined intellectual game. The new sequence is deep and rich in meaning. Nothing is here by mere chance. Everything is carefully studied and yet natural, spontaneous. The new sequence flows like a river, carrying you to the depths of an amazing cobalt sea. Chaos, history, the observer, healing, and eternity are a few of the many new concepts and new challenges that await for the fool, and for us, to be discovered. The Fool's New Journey Tarot captures the reader's imagination with the beauty of its meaning as well as the elegance of Charles Newton's style. The minimalism of the shapes and the purity of the colors used are powerful because immediate and suggestive, and yet every time one gazes at a card, they will see something new. They will have different feelings and intuitions. Like a mirror reflecting in a mirror, there's no end of how far you can go or how deep. In this deck, infinity is looking back at you with its marvels. I was mesmerized by the Fool's New Journey Tarot from the first time John sent me the early cards. And then, when I received what I cannot define with other words than epic of the new Fool's Journey, I was totally captured. I was unable to turn my attention to other directions for days. Fragments of poetry and images kept popping into my mind. A strange and marvelous experience. John has written a fascinating, visionary, and inspired adventure. I think he has not only reinvented tarot, but given it an epic dimension with the depth and beauty of poetry. John has honored tarot as few have ever managed to do. A light is lit once again. London, November 2022. Introduction. The creation of the Fool's New Journey Tarot. It was during the first lockdown of 2020, during the worldwide coronavirus pandemic, that I began to think of the Fool's New Journey Tarot. The world had grown silent, but work was still coming in, and I was creating what would become the Goblin Market Tarot, Watkins 2021. Then as I sat in the garden thinking about the way I would shape the traditional meanings of the cards to fit a 19th century poem, I suddenly found myself asking this. Are the archetypes of the tarot set in stone? Not the images so much. These are fluid enough to generate countless new versions every year, but the basic meanings and applications. I knew, of course, that despite various claims to trace the origins back to Egypt and beyond, the tarot is a more recent phenomenon, certainly in the form we know it today. Tarot emerged in the 15th century from ordinary cards, while the 22 trumps or triumphs derived from allegorical processional displays. beloved of the Italian city-states. Over the next 300 years, it evolved as a game, Tarocchi, played initially in Italy and soon spreading to France and Germany, and thereafter throughout most of Europe. The most esoteric use of the cards as a magical device for answering questions regarding the daily mysteries of life is no older than the late 18th century, while its truly occult focus came to the fore only in the mid-1800s. In all this time, the decks have remained largely unchanged. In Italy during the 15th century, regional variations abunded, some with more, some with fewer cards. These were added to include other ideas and characters, famous soldiers, gods and goddesses, philosophers and kings. In one instance, the 16th century Menchiat tarot trumps were added representing the elements, the ideas of faith, hope, and charity, and zodiacal signs, taking it to 96 cards. The pip cards, lacking detailed imagery, emerged from the original cartomatic usage and were based with additions on the 4 playing card suits. Other than this, very little changed. In our own age, a vast variety of tarots covering just about every aspect of life and endeavor have appeared. But in most cases, these have stuck to the basic patterns, 22 majors and 56 minors, themselves bearing meanings derived from the 19th century. Even the order of the triumphs has not always kept to the same order. Though the titles of the cards have hardly changed beyond the Papist, female pope, becoming the high priestess, and the pope becoming the hierophant, in more modern times. Then in the 18th century, a group of people, including Court de Gabelin, 1725 to 1784, and Paul Christian, the pseudonym of John Baptist Pitois, 1811 to 1887, started to develop the traditional card decks by adding their own, mostly esoteric, understanding of what these meant. In the 19th century, ritual magicians such as A.E. Waite, 1857 and 1942, and Aleister Crowley, 1875 to 1947, took this further, looking back to the times before Tarocchi was created, and adding layers of meaning to each card. Previous pip cards, which showed multiples of coins, swords, cups, and wands, each with its own history, began to be replaced by detailed images that told the story hidden in the cards. In our own time, these have become so fixed in our consciousness, along with pictorial images produced by Pamela Coleman Smith and Lady Frida Harris, that it seemed they were going to remain that way forever. However, one development struck a chord in me from the start. That was included in the work of Eden Gray in the 1960s, and in particular her Complete Guide to the Tarot, 1970, in which she proposed the idea of the Fool's Journey, linking everything to a single passage from ignorance to knowing. Her statement of this, which I have placed at the head of this book, still describes this as clearly as anyone can. The Fool represents the soul of every man, which, after it is clothed in a body, appears on earth and goes through the life experience depicted in the 21 cards of the major arcana, sometimes thought of as archetypes of the subconscious. Let each reader use his imagination and find here his own map of the soul's quest, for these are symbols that are deep within each one of us. On that particular day, as clouds crossed the sky and light and shadows played across the lawn in our garden, I found myself asking, who said we had to have the same meanings, with a few minor details, for every tarot deck produced? I had myself devised over 13 of these, and now I felt that something new was required. Something that would bring tarot into the present with ideas and concepts of which the originators of the first 15th century decks either had little or no understanding, or did not possess the language to explain. Nor was it simply a matter of updating the images to show people in modern dress doing things that they could not have done in the earlier times. but to supply ideas and concepts missing from the traditional work. Even the appearance of the original designs would need to change. The choice of subjects and the way they are depicted had to be different from those of the 15th century originators of tarot. In any age, when psychology has become more of a guiding and motivating factor in our lives than religion, a modern tarot must speak today's language, allowing for the fact that we understand and react to symbolism differently than in the Renaissance period. The Fool's New Journey Tarot avoids misreadings of its symbolic language by representing recognizable aspects of the human condition without losing the deeper resonance of traditional tarot. The art, too, is very different from that of the earlier times, a simpler, more direct, and more personal than the antique style of Renaissance art, which, beautiful and rich though it is, does not always speak to us as we need when seeking answers to modern issues. As I had these thoughts in mind, a new collection of cards began to appear, largely intuitively but always with deep contemplation. They included cards such as Truth, the Listeners, the Remembering, the Forgetting, and Nature, along with Wisdom, the Clown, and the Observer. In the end, there were 60, including all the original major arcana, which are far too important to lose, but with the addition of 38 new titles. This left the minor arcana seemingly defunct, and I decided, not without a great deal of soul-searching, to drop these entirely. At the same time, a completely new sequence emerged, retaining the original majors, but scattered through the sequence of new cards, and including many of the original pip card meanings as well. As Caitlin Matthews has stated in her Time Changers Tarot, Red Feathers 2023, the major arcana speaks with the archetypal voice that governs all beings on Earth. Each card will automatically show you the bigger, collective picture of your question, revealing where the larger influences are at work within it. These may erupt into your life as irresistible forces of fate, as prevailing conditions that govern the world, or as influences that cause you to change your struggle. But they can also reveal to you the power to deal with current problems and dilemmas, how that power can help you withstand troubles, and how a community can harness the virtues that each major arcana offers. This was exactly the sense I was feeling from the new sequence of cards. The influence of powers beyond the range of our immediate senses represented everything that I thought was necessary for the influence of the new tarot to express. Tarot never had a single creator, but each generation had contributed to what it had become. Taking on a resetting of that familiar major and minor sequence was from the start a formidable task. But once the steps to remove the minor cards had been taken, the sequence fell quite quickly into place. Much time was spent considering the order of the rest. Early on, I realized that the new cards had to be interleaved with the old, and that the first card would still be the Fool, since his journey through the sequence remains at the heart of modern tarot. He would remain without a number, as he needed to be separate at some level from the rest of the pack. The last card would remain the World. But as the sequence grew and developed, it was felt that the meaning should transcend even this, and so Eternity was added as card 59. In rearranging the sequence, connections were looked for between cards, links that extend the possibilities of reading considerably. Having reached this point, there followed over 3 years working with artist Charles Newington, whose take on the idea was wonderful. I asked him to strip out as much of the traditional imagery as possible and to keep the picture simple. Sketches began to appear which were beautiful and simple, but packed a punch. From there, we went on playing with the images until we both were satisfied and felt they reflected the newer imagery. By this time I had decided that a new sequence was required to completely sever the ties with the older decks. Some would remain in their normal places, To begin with, the working title was simply the Reset Tarot. This elided into the Tabula Rasa Tarot, suggesting the blank sheet on which the new ideas could be written. Finally, after much discussion, my wife plucked the Fool's New Journey out of the air, and everything felt it had fallen into place. To make this even clearer, both to myself and the readers and users of the tarot, I set out to write 2 stories, each one based on the idea of the Fool's Journey. The first is based on the original, classic tarot trumps. The second, on this new sequence. This proved to be an amazingly enlightening process. It taught me things that I thought I knew already about the tarot as a whole, and specifically showed me how the original and the new sequence differed, and how they met and overlapped. I strongly suggest you read these before you begin working formally with the Fool's New Journey Tarot, as they are also a really good way to learn both the new sequence and the underlying meanings of each card for yourself. What follows here is a new look at tarot, literally a new journey for the Fool, resetting the style and purpose of the deck more or less back to zero, then taking it to places it has never been before. Some of the new cards will be seen to have grown out of the old, separating certain aspects of the original meanings into separate categories. For example, the worker features aspects of the 7 and 8 of Pentacles, while the old 4 of Swords flows into the Sleeper, and the 3 of Swords has become part of the meaning of the Sorrowful. The Tower is still present, with modern references added, but also includes aspects of the Downfall. Others are completely new, shifting the focus of meanings into previously unacknowledged areas of human experience. I remain as much of a devotee of the original tarot as I have been since I bought my first deck over 50 years ago. Here I offer something different, in the belief that users and readers may find it at once challenging and enlightening. Here begins the Fool's New Journey. Will you follow this path into a place of wisdom and discovery? John Matthews, Oxford, 2022. The 60 Triumphs Meaning Interpretations. Tarot Fool, Part 1. Fool sings poems to a broken lyre, dances on the bridge with the rainbow spire. Fool in tarot lives the dream, follows in the footsteps of the dancing queen. Fool is tarot on sunny days, following the road through the glinting rays. Fool on his journey, never looks back, keeps on walking on the ancient track. Fool's every one of us on our journeys too. Fool keeps fooling us with what is true. The 60 Triumphs of the Fool's New Journey. So, what exactly is the Fool's Journey? As mentioned previously, the term was coined by tarot aficionado Eden Gray in the 1950s, but it has perhaps always been present beneath the surface of classical tarot. The Fool is always numbered 0 to distinguish him from the rest of the sequence. A layout of the major cards in the traditional sequence places him at the head with all the rest of the cards below him. The journey that the Fool undertakes is one that we are all engaged upon. The journey of life itself. The Fool is seen as an innocent, a blank slate upon which everything he or she experiences is written. Thus the Fool's new journey, like the one he or she undertakes for us each time we make a reading, begins afresh. The road taken is filled with wisdom, terror, love, joy, and many other things, each of which we have or will experience in our own journeys. If you look carefully at the new sequence of cards, all triumphs, trumps, or major arcana, you will see that many tell an ongoing story, not just your story, though you will find that they're also, but the story of everyone, not just a single story either, but several, which interleave with each other as the cards themselves do when shuffled. Each story adding to another, building a new picture from which we may learn. If seeking specific answers, you will see how these emerge from the imagery and meanings of each card, joined together by the movement of one with another, showing your own part in the eternal dance of life. Read the 2 versions of the Fool's Journey. See part 2 to get an idea of how this works. To begin with, if you are familiar with classic tarot, you may find the new sequence less easy to read. The answer to this is simply a matter of getting to know the deck, familiarizing yourself with the images and meanings. Some may be more obvious to you than others, but after spending a little time with each card, just as you would with any new deck, and considering the imagery of each, they should begin to open themselves to you. The stories will help with this. If you are a regular reader of the tarot, you may find some of the traditional meanings changed. This is all part of the new journey undertaken by the Fool. These extended meanings are designed to interact with the new cards, together forming a powerful range of emotions and feelings with which each reader can interact. Take your time to familiarize yourself with the whole of the deck. Don't just skip over the traditional cards, because some of these will have changed to better relate them to the new imagery. The less you compare these with the older traditions, the better. Though there will be some overlaps and references that you will recognize. If you are a beginner, so much the better, as you will bring to the cards your own first impressions of their inherent meanings and their relationship to you and your own life journey. With these thoughts in mind, let us take our first steps in the Fool's new journey into discovery and wisdom, finding our own path laid out before us, and many fresh new meanings to help us divine the answers we seek. Here then is a list of the 60 cards, followed by entries that include the meaning, any additional background information required, and lists of keywords for both upright and reversed readings. Following this is the third part of this book. You will find methods of working, meditating, and reading the cards, created especially for the Fool's New Journey Tarot. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to list all of the cards, and then we are going to go immediately to the third section. And then after we finish with the third section, we will go back to the meetings. We will start out with the Fool, and for the next 60 days, we will be going over one card every day. Okay? Ooh-dee. Oh. Oh, just 1 second, babies. We have a bonus. We have 2 part 2s, remember? So, this is the new part. This is the other part of the part 2. But now, the new part 2 is a book in itself. It's like 75 pages. A small print. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do the part 3 right now, and then after we do part 3, that'll be the end for tonight, because like I said, we're already here for an hour. Oh my goodness. Okay, and then tomorrow we will do the full, and we'll read the Fool's Journey, which I'm pretty certain that a lot of people have never heard of the Fool's Journey. So this would be an absolute delight to check out. Tomorrow is Sunday, so it's perfect. Hello, listen. 626 on the board. Okay, so we're going to finish this out with part 3. And then tomorrow, we're going to start with the full story. We're actually going to go through and read the story, the whole story. Not as, like, the cards and their meanings, but the actual story is what this is. This is going to be so awesome. So fucking awesome. For those of you who are new to tarot, interested in tarot, or even have been doing tarot for a long time and you've never heard the story, this would be an absolutely amazing opportunity to check out. I will be doing this absolutely for certain tomorrow. This was, yeah. Alright, so let me get a drink and we'll start on the next section, because it's going to teach us how to read, how to listen. So this is very important for us. Listen. In order for us to understand the full story, we have to read part 3 in order to understand how to read it. Because it's mixing the new and the old together, which is really cool, because before I read this, I was like, you know, we're going to be doing this, and then I'm going to bring the bees in after this, and then I'm bringing in the Night Wait deck to bring in the old and the new to do a mix. And you'll see why I chose these decks to do this with. But anyway, this is going to be a blast, and this is going to carry us through. We've got one deck that I think has 78 cards. This has 60. We've got 78, and then I don't know how many in the other one. I think it's 80 in the other one, or 81. I don't remember. Anyway, let me get a drink real quick. Get your drink. Get your drink. Get your drink. All right. Working with the Fool's New Journey Tarot. Readings and spreads. Fool's Dream. Aiming his smile at the sky like an arrow, Fool slipped on the green, lay beneath his shadow. Fool met Death, didn't know her. Tried a joke, Death laughed. Live another day, Fool, she said. Reading the journey. Most traditional tarot readings concern themselves with the relationship of the cards to each other and their placing in a spread. While some of our suggested methods include this style of reading, for the most part we see the cards as telling a story. Listen, y'all got kids. That's my babies. That's my babies. Did you? Okay, guys, I have to turn that. I'm gonna open the windows. There's a moment when the sun goes down that it gets really hot in here. Well, I can turn the air on, but then that'd be even really more loud. Let's just see if we can do it like this. Next month I'm gonna get a fan specifically for here and here. Well, because I think if I had a fan that was blowing on me, I wouldn't have the air on as much. Okay. Here we go. While some of our suggested methods include this style of reading, for the most part, we see the cards as telling a story. Just as in the two fables included here, the sequence itself drives the path of the Fool, so the methodology we are working with is that the card represents the client's personal journey in the same way, and that they should be read as a sequence that tells a story. Taking soundings. Once you have familiarized yourself with the sequence of the cards and their intrinsic meanings, you are ready to begin playing with them. This will often entail creating your own story, shown by the cards, in which you will find the answer you seek. Be relaxed in your first attempts, as you will find that the new cards and the meanings will throw up many questions. This is in line with what we believe to be the essential purpose of tarot. Not so much to answer our questions, but to encourage us to ask ourselves for answers. Most professional readers will tell you that the cards really are just pieces of card with images on them. It's the relationship between us as readers and the deeply powerful tarot imagery that creates the divinatory magic that in the questions we ask of them. Hiccups. I Okay. However, since most tarot readings are based on asking for answers, we need to consider how and what we ask, how we frame our question in order to get the best possible answer. We need to think about this carefully. The simpler the question, the more direct the answer you will receive. Avoid yes or no, either or questions, as these tend to muddy the waters and give you indecisive answers. Ones beginning with should I mean you have abandoned responsibility for your actions and handed them over to the tarot. Thus, instead of asking, for example, should I move in with Dave, it would be better to ask, what qualities does Dave have that would make him the right partner for me? And so on. Some good formats are as follows. What is the likely consequence of? Please show me how I might. Please guide me. Help me to see the issue clearly. Show me how to move forward. These are important considerations for any reader, whether seeking answers for ourselves or for others. To begin with, you may find it easier to ask simple, direct questions using just 2 or 3 cards that do not require a lengthy commentary. Here are a couple of basic examples. In these trial runs, we ask the clients to respond later with any outcomes from the reading. Normally, we do not get to hear what occurs. Okay. We're not doing the reading part. Okay. The rest of it is basically, it is the basics. I do want to read this excerpt and then we're going to call it out of YouTube. Fate or destiny. Considering the examples given here, we need to remember that a tarot spread is not a self-fulfilling prophecy. Many tarot commentators, readers, and writers alike have suggested it is best to see any tarot spread as merely a sighting of the possibilities available, or as a photograph of a single moment. This way, you will not attempt to live up to what the reading has told you, but more simply to use it for life navigation. As you would treat the general coordinates of a map as general guidance, the landscape on a map is fixed, but when traveling through it, you deal with weather and other conditions that cause you to accelerate, stop, or seek alternative routes. Above all, when working with any divinatory tool, it is important to understand the differences among fate, destiny, and free will, because 2 of these terms are used very loosely and sometimes interchangeably by practitioners of the art. Fate is woven from our unique appearance in the apparent world. We are born at a time and a place of 2 parents, whose physical characteristics, ancestral tendencies, and gifts you inherit from them. We can do little to change these things, apart from some superficial aspects such as dyeing one's hair a different color. But if we are born blind, then we are unlikely to be able to see, except with our other senses. We have to learn to work with the fate we were born with. Destiny is the path you forge in life, drawing upon the innate gifts and potential that you have. Being naturally talented with artistic skills will not make you an artist unless you train, practice, and become recognized by others as one. Resting on the laurels of your destiny is a mistake. If someone divines that you are destined to do something, then you will almost certainly not achieve it without your free will and engagement. Accidental destiny, sometimes called serendipity, may be portrayed in films or books, but even there, free will must enter into things. Free will is the ability to be passive or active in our lives. Living passively, we achieve little. Living with engagement makes our lives active. Free will determines whether we say yes or no to opportunity. Responding in the negative is as important as responding in the affirmative. When is an opportunity a temptation or a false trail and distraction? It is usually when you turn away from your natural inclination and common sense. I believe I'm going to read the next part as well, only because I feel it could help those who listen to readers, not so much those who already read. Okay, so for those of you who are readers, I love you too, music. This comes by you handy. But for those who don't, and you would like to know further, this might actually help you into understanding what we're doing on the other side. Interpreting the cards. When you first begin to read the cards for yourself, you call upon a vast array of resources, which include focusing upon the primary visual impacts of the image on the card, the written and suggested meanings for each individual card, the card's position in a spread, the juxtaposition association of one card with another, what story, impression, or tendency is emerging from the whole spread, and the relevance of the spread to the issue or question that triggered it. If you are a beginner to tarot, this will be quite enough to occupy your attention. Remember that there is no right way to read and interpret a reading. The more you work with the cards, the more you will understand what a large part intuition plays in helping you to interpret. The possible combination of 60 cards, as is in this new deck in their upright and reverse positions, are vast, and there is little point trying to remember or prepare for any particular combination. However, we suggest pairing the cards daily, drawing 2 random cards and practicing, making a story come alive from them and revealing what meaning might lie hidden within. Your imagination will suggest ideas, stories, and themes automatically because you are already wired with circuits of understanding. As you become more proficient at interpreting the cards, you will find that listening to the promptings therein, entertaining the possibilities that they suggest, and exploring them in greater depth will take you even more deeply into the Fool's new journey. Reality has many alternative channels, and the cards will often show these to you. Sometimes a small detail will speak louder than the main substance of the image. For example, what path dictates a fool's choice in the road? There's more to deciding what way to go than may seem obvious. Divination is a skill that is largely oral and hands-on, rather than just about the text. So practice divining in a way that works for you. Now, I'm not going to be doing reversals So I'm not going to check that out. But for each his own, you know. Now, tomorrow, we are going to be reading the full story. 111:59, 112:00. Oh, sweet business. Listen. All right, so 10:11. Nice, look at that. We're in conjunction with a function. Getting our mission on. 645. Listen. Look. 4-5. 6-4-5. Balancing out the future. Ow, baby. I'm telling you. 112:33. Okay, listen. We are calling it for the night. And we will be back on here tomorrow. And we will be introducing the Fool's Journey, the full card, and we will do as they ask us to do and pick 2 random cards to find out what they are. And we will pick out those. We will identify their definitions as well, but we will be focusing mainly on the serial cards. Like for the next 60 days, we will do the serial cards. We'll do them in order. But after we do the one in order, we will pull the 2 cards that it asks us to pull extra to go with that card of the day, and pick out those meanings as well. So along the way of the 60-day journey, we'll not only be learning the card of the day, but we'll have an opportunity to repeat and accentuate the meanings of the cards, of other cards as well. So there will be we will be doing other stuff as well, but this is going to be our major. This is for the next 60 days, this is what we're doing. This is not day 1, this is day intro. Day 1 starts tomorrow. Yeah, so we had a preface and an intro, and tomorrow we'll have the actual day 1 that we will start out. We will do the Fool's Journey. We'll do our prayer or sage, and then we'll do our cards. I will be on here tomorrow morning for our spirit messages for the week, where we will dive deep into finding out what Daddy wants us to work on for the week, on the inside, not so much the outside. We're focused on the inside. We're focused on ourselves. Bam, bam, bam. Until tomorrow morning, 1:15:00. I send you guys so much love, light, life, kisses, and blessings.